Well, first off, I think the public now realizes that the Russians did not hack the election. I mean, William Binney and Ray McGovern, myself, many others. In fact, I've listed 29 people, including Barack Obama, who have gone on the record and said the Russians did not hack the election. That is an old meme. It's gone. Trump's problem is that he's an accidental president, but he's also a fringe president. Rob Urey did a great piece in Counterpunch in which he pointed out that Barack Obama, Trump, or Clinton, had she won, were 26 to 27% presidents. That is to say, of the 100% eligible voters, only 26%, or 27% in Trump's case, have actually voted for him. So here in the United States, 26% hate him. They're the ones that voted for Hillary Clinton. And then there's 47% that did not vote at all. Trump has it within his power to call for an Electoral Reform Act, a Unity Act, which essentially destroys the two-party tyranny that fought Trump to the bitter end. Make no mistake about it, the Republican Party hates Donald Trump. Reince Priebus, in my view, is a spy on Trump who is opposing Trump from within. I personally think Reince Priebus should not be allowed to be chief of staff. So Trump has a chance to reset everything. He talked about how the system is rigged. He hasn't done what I've done, which is published about how the system is rigged 12 different ways. Okay, it's not just campaign finance reform, it's paper ballots. One of the reasons Trump won by accident was because Hillary Clinton started talking about the Russians too soon. And it led to the closure of the electronic vote tampering that she used against Bernie Sanders. Hillary Clinton, it's on record, Stanford University has studied this and documented it. Hillary Clinton stole 13 primaries from Bernie Sanders using electronic ballot tampering. The Russians did not hack the election. Hillary Clinton hacked the election and lost because that door was closed at the very end. What I think, and I wrote today, in fact, published in the Russian International Affairs Council, Trump is a wild card. Trump is a businessman. Trump already understands that, for example, we're paying too much for Boeing and Lockheed and Northrop Grumman. He's coming at this with a fresh perspective. He did not expect to win. He has replaced the political elites with business and military elites. We've had a counter coup in the United States. We have successfully defeated the coup that was being led by Wall Street and Hillary Clinton and John Brennan. So it's up to Trump. My personal feeling is that if Trump does not pass an Electoral Reform Act in the next 90 days, he will not finish his term. He will leave.
And why is that? What does the Electoral Reform Act do, and why is it so important to his presidency?
The Electoral Reform Act does a number of things, but one of the most important is that it frees the members from the bribery and the blackmail that is pervasive in U.S. politics. Wayne Madsen is one of my favorite investigative journalists, and he published recently a piece on how John McCain and Lindsey Graham have been blackmailed by CIA, and that is why they've been so anti-Russia. Now, because of Wayne's piece and because of some other things that I and a few others have done, Trump has gone back to McCain. McCain is now being, if you will, counter-blackmailed. And so he's softening, and he's saying, well, now I'm leaning toward Rex Tillerson, which is exactly what he better do if he wants to finish his term out. All right? I think Trump has the capacity to free the members from their dependency on foreign money, particularly Saudi Arabian and Israeli and Wall Street money. Beyond that, he has to show the Sandinistas, the Libertarians, and the Independents that they have a president who really means it. Trump is going to have platitudes. If he were to, in his inauguration speech, have said, I am going to pass an Electoral Reform Act that unrigs the system, not only would he win the hearts and minds of every American, but he would then be more powerful because he could amass more votes than the two parties put together. The two parties put together represent 30% of the voters. Trump can capture the other 70%.
Right. So let's get back to this issue of the Russians hacked the election, which
they did not.
Well, already it's a misnomer because the idea is the Russians were involved in hacking DNC emails in some
This
capacity,
has been disproven
right?
completely.
I mean, that was the argument, right? So how was it disproven?
Well, first off, I sounded the alarm on cybersecurity in 1994. I wrote the first letter to the White House. I introduced NSA to hackers. I was the opening speaker of Hackers on Planet Earth in 1994. I am, as it were, a strong representative of the hacking community going back 30 years. I know what I'm talking about. The DNC was a leak, not a hack. And Julian Assange and William Binney from the National Security Agency and Ambassador Craig Murray and I and Ray McGovern and Phil Giraldi, we're all saying the same thing. This was a leak, not a hack. The lies that John Brennan has told, both anonymously and publicly, are, in my view, an impeachable offense. He has prostituted his office the way George Tenet prostituted his office when he led with Dick Cheney the telling of 935 lies that led us into Iraq. The DNC was never properly investigated. They wouldn't allow the FBI to get to their computers. And in fact, the FBI was simply given secondhand information from CrowdStrike and others who are anti-Russian technocrats that are in the pockets of Hillary Clinton and the neoconservatives. So it was never proven. And in fact, Donald Trump, to his credit, called Julian Assange and said, tell me to my face, tell me directly. And Julian Assange repeated to Donald Trump, the Russians did not give us this stuff. I've listed 29 different people with links to their public statements saying the Russians did not hack the election. It was a leak. Now, Podesta, the FBI and the CIA are asking us to believe that a Romanian taxi driver using antiquated equipment, who has had some modest success against celebrities, perhaps he's after you next, is being run by Russian national intelligence. That's absolutely absurd. In fact, the man was in jail here in Virginia, and he was found to be completely what he said he was, and he was returned to Romania to serve his prison sentence there. He is not a Russian state agent.
This is Guccifer.
Yes, Guccifer. And by the way, people get confused. Guccifer 2.0 and Guccifer are the same person. Okay, if you look that up, it's not completely clear. So the third big leak was the Anthony Weiner laptop that had allegedly 650,000 emails from Huma Abedin. She was introduced to Hillary Clinton as a very, very young girl. Hillary Clinton fell in love with her and has been with Hillary Clinton ever since. Those emails, although the FBI sequestered that computer very quickly, they were enough to make the New York Police Department very angry, because they had explicit proof of Hillary Clinton sending classified information back to IP addresses in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. They had explicit proof of Hillary Clinton with pay-to-play. I mean, Hillary Clinton sold Syria and Yemen to Saudi Arabia, and John Brennan has been her executive agent for essentially doing regime change in Syria and further destabilizing Yemen. I mean, really, Brennan should be in an international court under indictment for being a war criminal. If you want to play war criminal, let's start with John Brennan. The drone assassination program by CIA is killing thousands, 98% of whom are known to not be on any list. They're women and children and innocent old men. So I believe Trump has enormous potential here. And the Russians hacked the election now is a dead meme. The three memes that are emerging, John Brennan accomplished in 90 days what I've failed to do in 30 years. He demonstrated that the intelligence community is about telling lies with no evidence. I was never that successful. So thank you, John Brennan. That's the first big meme. The intelligence community is not a crown jewel. It's more like gold flakes in a very large cow pie.
Well, it's scary to hear the mainstream media saying, if we can't trust the CIA, who can we trust?
Well, let's turn to the mainstream media. I have tried for over 3 years to get the mainstream media to cover electoral reform. They won't touch it, for the same reason that the League of Women Voters didn't object when the Republican and Democratic parties stole the debates from them so that they could exclude third, fourth, and fifth party people. The other big thing that has happened is that in the panic to repress skeptical citizens, and investigative journalists such as Robert Parry and Jeff St. Clair, two of my favorites worldwide, and the good stuff coming out at Global Research, The fake news meme, like the conspiracy meme that CIA invented in the 1960s to diminish people who were questioning the JFK story, the fake news meme was intended to diminish citizens saying, hey, wait a minute, there's a Pizzagate, there's a Pedogate, there's all these other things. What has happened in the United States of America is now everyone understands what they've refused to believe in the past, which is that the New York Times, the crap news media, all of these people are the fake news. John Rappaport has done tremendous work writing about the Matrix and about all of this stuff. So that's the second big one. The third big one is the political parties. Donald Trump won against odds, and the bookmakers are not stupid. The bookmakers gave Trump 20-to-1 odds versus 200-to-1 odds, at best and worst. Trump won because Hillary Clinton imploded at the very last minute. He is an accidental president. But he now has the power, should he choose to use it, to unrig the system. And that's where I'm really concerned, because Reince Priebus's highest priority in life is to stop Donald Trump from unrigging the system.
Right.
And that's why I think Prince Priebus needs to be thrown out of the White House, never allowed to step inside.